to come to the front of the stage. For one, Haribol! 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 So Deva Madhava is the temple president, secretary, treasurer, head priest, counselor, advisor, floor sweeper, cook, pujari, head pujari. No, Deva Madhava is a very humble devotee, very sweet. He does a lot of service at the Harmony Collective there in Uppsala on Eastern Michigan University campus, where he serves with his wonderful wife Vrindavani and a handful of young devotees who are very eager and enthusiastic about Krishna consciousness. So we're very happy for him to bring that enthusiasm with him and share it with us today and enlighten us more on the glories of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. So without further ado, again, please welcome Deva Madhava.
Thank you, Srimala Prabhu, for that kind introduction. Us young devotees increasingly get older.
Always be young to me.
Yeah. So that's encouraging to hear. I'm young somewhere. Very happy to see Mother Mrgakshi. My pranams, Ma. Really glad to see you. And I've never had the honor of seeing Stamba Prabhu in person, but I've heard of the glories of these famed Penn State talks that he used to give. And you have fans scattered about the movement, Prabhu, who remember those talks fondly. So I hope to hear from you soon. The occasion, which by the lunar calendar was a few days ago, is Nityananda Trayodasi that we come to celebrate today. And my wife and I, who Srimala Prabhu kindly mentioned, Vrindavani, we were sitting down to lunch after we endured a few hours without eating in the name of Nitai. And we were musing about the odd place of Nityananda in our culture, in our Hare Krishna community. Because everybody else who's a part of Lord Chaitanya's crew, they have this kind of exemplary nature to them that is pointed to, like following the person's example. Haridas Thakur is a famous one. He's known as the Namacharya, the one who gave the example for how to chant Hare Krishna. He was born in kind of within the social strata, considered a lower situation. And instead of trying to like fight that or turning into some kind of social justice scheme or complaining, arguing, feeling bitter, resentful, he just humbly sat in the corner and chanted Hare Krishna and knew that God loved him and that was good enough, and whoever else had a problem, that was their problem. And so Haridas is pointed to as this exemplar, Namacharya, Haridas Thakur ki jai. Advaitacharya, he's like on the other side of things. He's got all the power, all the position, all the prestige. He's the exemplar of the kind of reigning religious culture. But instead of lording that over, instead of enjoying the kind of pomp and circumstance of that, he's a very humble person and encourages everybody, carries the real wisdom of the tradition, doesn't get intoxicated by all the religiosity that Hinduism and Vaishnavism can bring with it. Advaitacharya, exemplar mahant of the community. Srivas, what is he the ideal of? Srivas Thakur. Royalty? Interesting. We would think so. But Srivas Thakur, what was his position socially? He's just a householder, just a normal married guy. Srivas was your average normal married guy. But what did he do with his free time? And practically actually all of his time. He had everybody over to his house to chant Hare Krishna. He said, don't worry guys, we don't need a temple. Just come over to my place. We got some water, we got a little food. And in between doing whatever we have to do, otherwise we'll just keep the chanting and dancing going. So the devotees over to his home all the time. And in that way, without any pomp, without any circumstance, without any recognition, Srivas was the ideal householder. And so these folks are pointed to in our community, in our tradition, be like him, be like him, be like him. But when you talk about Nityananda, if you really press on people, they'll tell you, okay, don't exactly be like him. The example of Nityananda, if you try to do what he did, you might get in trouble. If you try to go into the Ganga and wrestle with the alligators to slap them on the head and tell them to chant Hare Krishna, you might not come out of the Ganga. And that would be a sad thing. If you decided to forego clothing for a day, you might end up in the prison. So there's the example of Nityananda. We want to do everything he did. And it's also funny in that we sometimes tell ourselves, don't do what he did. And I thought today to try to point towards something of the spirit of Nityananda and how we might try to find that in our own lives. Because this is a danger that we run in any kind of religious tradition, and especially in our Hare Krishna community, is if you try to imitate a wonderful person, instead of appreciating that God's already made you a wonderful person, and he's interested in seeing your kind of unique contribution. As much as we're a part of a community and we're in the family of Chaitanya, and we're followers of Srila Prabhupada, there's also a necessity of being an individual. And Nityananda embodies that so much that the first thing we have to say is don't be so much like him, which is actually a great lesson in understanding that what's being really called to is being like ourselves in the service of the Lord. So Nitya, from the beginning, from the get-go, he showed everybody what he cared about and what his life was for, which was to be a bhakta, to be a devotee of Krishna. From just childhood, 5, 6, 7 years old, he became a producer of famed Bollywood, Hollywood level drama in the village of Ekachakra. He would organize all of these plays of the Leelas of the Lord. Leela means the divine activities of God. And Nitai would get all his friends together and enact their favorite pastimes. One day they're lifting Govardhan Hill. One day they're watching Krishna dance on the hoods of Kaliya. One day they're jumping into Ram Leela and Sita's been taken. One day they were in Ram Leela and Nitai, because Nitai is Balaram and Balaram is Lakshman. There's a beautiful verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, CC, Colleen. This beautiful scripture that describes the activities of Gora and Nitai. It says, Sarvarupe Ashvadaya Krishna Sevananda, Se Balaram, Gora Sangha Nityananda. So this person that they call Balaram, over here he's Nityananda, but actually he's the same person. Mother Kunjari, where do you work?
Elementary school.
Do they call you Mother Kunjari?
No.
They should. What do they call you over there?
Mrs. Sparks.
Are you also Kunjari when you're over there? You sure?
Well, yes. I guess. So,
You still keep your Kuntimala on, right? Same for Nityananda. Over here he's Balaram, over there he's Nitai, over there he's Lakshman. But in the heart he's the same devotee, the same personality of Godhead simultaneously. We'll talk about that on another day. Nityananda, he's come in the Sangha of Gora, and he's enjoying the same thing. Wherever he goes, he's enjoying the same thing. Sarva Rupe, whatever form he finds himself in, he's tasting the same thing, Ashvadaya. He's tasting the sweetness of Krishna's seva. That special thing that's actually available anywhere, but in this world, we're often very easily distracted from it, the service of God. We're very easily called into the service of Amazon Prime and President Trump or Modi or the left or the right or the Super Bowl's next week. We're very easily called into the service of other entities, but Nityananda, he's got something figured out. That the real happiness, his name literally means always happy. Why is he always happy? Because he's always doing this thing. He's always serving God wherever he goes. And he has that wisdom, he has that capacity. Once Srila Prabhupada, he was found with his hands folded across his chest in that kind of classic prayerful, plaintive mood in front of the deities in Vrindavan. And the devotees asked him, Prabhupada, what are you praying? And Prabhupada shared very sweetly and kind of innocently, he said, I'm praying that I don't fall down, which means I'm praying that I don't become overwhelmed by a mundane experience. And the devotees were kind of like perplexed. This is a saint by every account of the word. So there's really no idea that he'll fall down. And Prabhupada, you can't. And Prabhupada's reply was, well, that is because I'm always praying. If I stop this, then I might fall over. So that's his humility, and we don't want to take that from him. That's his real conviction. And why we might ontologically understand something else, let Prabhupada have that conviction that he better keep praying, because that's where he's happy, when he's in communion and in conversation with Krishna. So Nityananda, he can do whatever he wants and he'll always be happy because he's Bhagavan. But don't take it away from him that he's always happy because he's doing what he wants, and what he wants to do is to serve Krishna. So even at 5, 6, 7 years old, there was Nityananda organizing dramas of the Leelas of the Lord. And one day they organized this particularly gut-wrenching moment in the Ramayana. Nitai was playing the part of Lakshman. And Lakshman has a very harrowing time in the final battle when Ravan and Ram will eventually meet. Something happens to Lakshman first. Does anyone remember?
So Ravana's son shoots an arrow, he faints.
Yeah. Lakshman is shot by a very powerful arrow from the son of the big bad guy, Ravan. The son's name is Indrajit. And Indrajit strikes him hard. And Lakshman, who's never been defeated in so many battles that he's fought before, is now on the ground and looking nearly lifeless. And in the drama of the little boys, they didn't play with arrows, they just had lotus flowers, which if you've ever seen when they're when they haven't bloomed, lotus flowers have a very kind of like weapony point, you know, very satisfying for a little kid. You pick up a certain stick, you're like, yes, this is a sword. Clear as day. It's just, God made me a sword from this tree. So they, you know, you pick up a lotus flower as a 7-year-old boy, and it's a very tempting weapon. And so Indrajit, the little boy, fired the lotus arrow, and it struck Nitai, and Nitai fell to the ground. And all the boys were used to very fervent drama. They were trained by Nitai that we take our drama seriously. But seeing Nitai laying on the ground, some of the boys immediately broke character. And they ran over to him from their other places in the battle, and they started shaking him. Nitai, Nitai, wake up. Nitai, Nitai, wake up. We're not playing anymore. Nitai, the game's over. And they didn't understand why Nitai had gone pale and why they couldn't see his chest rising and falling anymore. And some of them then began to cry, as little children do when they don't know what to do. Now their friend and the drama, and it's all falling apart. And some of the aunties and uncles, they started to walk over. And soon the whole village was gathered around because Nitai was the center of their life. He was this effulgent little light bulb of a boy. If it was dark, there'd be a soft moon glow when he's in the room. And now, that effulgent little boy was laying on the ground and apparently had no life left in him. Thankfully, one elder, one old uncle, he asked a question actually. He said, who is playing Hanuman? Who is playing Hanuman? It's an important question if you know the pastime. Because Hanuman goes and rescues Lakshman by getting the Sanjeevani herb, this very special medicinal plant from a certain area in the Himalayan mountains. And Hanuman has very little understanding of medicinal herbs, so he happens to bring the whole mountain just in case. But he brings the Sanjeevani herb. So the elder, he asks, who's playing Hanuman? Because he had heard already that Nitai had been struck by Indrajit's arrow. And so one little boy said, I'm Hanuman. And so the elder looked at him like, and so one little boy said, I'm Hanuman. And so the elder looked at him like, what are you waiting for? Go get the Sanjeevani herb. The little boy, I don't know what a Sanjeevani herb is. Because it looked like Nitai really on that full moon night, Kanai, Kanai, Nandalal, Gopal. Where is my Gopal? Where is my brother Kanai? Because that full moon night, when Nitai was 12 years old, was the first Gaur Purnim, the night that Lord Chaitanya had come. And Nitai, he felt the ether had shifted. My brother, who I was trying to recreate here in these dramas with all my friends for all these years, he's finally here. I can feel it. And so then the next day, there was a knock on Nitai's door. And his father, Hadai Pandit, answers and welcomes in a sadhu named Lakshmi Tirtha. And Lakshmi Tirtha regales Hadai Pandit with all of these beautiful narratives about the pastimes of God. And they spend the whole night together in Katha. And they're having such sweet exchange. You know, those moments where you just meet somebody and it's so easy to open your heart. You don't have to calculate. You don't have to worry. What are they thinking? What are they motivated by? What are they really about? What are they trying to get from me? It's just immediately this connection of the soul. Hadai Pandit and Lakshmi Tirtha were having that. And then the next morning, it's time for the sadhu to go, because generally sadhus, real renunciates, they don't stay in any one place too long because dust starts to accumulate and things start to get tough. And so they want to keep things fluid, they keep things moving. So he's on his way out, and Nitai's father folds his hands and he says, "Dear sadhu, I couldn't have imagined such a blessing. It's like God sent me an angel. This night we've spent together has reminded me of everything I really care about. Anything you ask of me, please do me the honor of asking something from me. Let me try to give, although what you've given me is priceless, let me try to give you something back." And then Lakshmi Tirtha asks and requests something that in general actually is not such a big deal in ancient cultures. It's more normal than it feels in sense for us. But for Hadai Pandit, it was the end of the world. Lakshmi Tirtha says, "Let me have your son. Your son is of age. He's 12 years now. And it's time for him to go to the Gurukul. It's time for him to go away from mom and dad, away from the comfort of home, so he can be trained up how to be a responsible man." So one of the things missing in Western culture. Wisdom cultures, whether you're talking about India or South America or Africa, wisdom cultures knew that if you let a young boy hang around into a teenager, all he's going to do is make a mess. He's just going to get into trouble. Mother Kunjari has one such teenager boy. Neela actually did pretty good. He's the miracle of his parents. But in general, we can't all expect Neelas. And so the wisdom is to take the boy away. And my brother-in-law, he's now 28, but he did this. Actually, he was 14 and he told his parents, "Mom and Dad, if you don't let me go over there, I'm just going to get in trouble over here." He was living in Alachua, Florida, where there's a big Krishna community. So many devotees around. But by the time he was 16, 17, 18, most of his friends had been in jail at least once, had gotten themselves into trouble with a girl or two, had picked up an addiction or two. By 18, 19, 20, their lives are kind of already set in a not exciting direction. So good on my 14-year-old brother-in-law at the time to understand, I'm just going to end up like that if I don't go. And Nitai had the same feeling. This is an opportunity, Mom and Dad. I know this breaks your heart, but I have to go. Not so I don't get in trouble over here, but because Kanai is out there somewhere. Krishna has come, and I have to go find him. And so Nitai started traveling with Lakshmi Tirtha to all the holy places. And he would go to Durga temples and Shiva temples, and he would offer his obeisances very happily. They're devotees of the Lord. They would come off the altar and offer their obeisances to him. In Chaitanya Bhagavat, Vrindavan Thakur talks about these pastimes. You can read it in detail. But Nitai was increasingly becoming dissatisfied. Everywhere he looked, everywhere he walked, he was not finding Krishna. And then one day, after having separated from the sadhu, he realized there's one place I haven't gone and one place I should go. Where did Nitai go? Where can we find Krishna? When in doubt, Vrindavan. Nitai went to Vrindavan. As soon as he touched that soil, he himself became overwhelmed. That's home. Braj is home. Braj is where the cows are. Braj is where Mother Yamuna is waiting to embrace you. And Balaram felt himself activated again, and he thought, for sure, he's here. Of course. Why didn't I think of it before? But after some time in Vrindavan and looking everywhere, under Vamsivat and Keshigat and Nanda's palace, everywhere he looked, he couldn't find. And he heard a voice, Akashvani, from the sky. Yogamaya Devi said, he's not here. Where would he be? He's not here, and I've already gone to every other holy place. He's in Navadvip. You have to go to Navadvip. And so Balaram started following. Nityananda started walking. Follow Yamuna down to Triveni, Prayag. Those of you that have heard of the Kumbh Mela, this sacred place where those folks go to take a bath once in a while. So the big Kumbh Mela happens at the place where Nityananda made his turn. Follow Yamuna down and then make a left at Ganga and take her down all the way to Navadvip. Navadvip means the land of 9 islands. The 9 islands are formed by Ganga Devi's flow. She and her tributaries carve out these beautiful islands, which sometimes shift like sandbars, sometimes bigger, sometimes smaller, but always present. Navadvip. Nitai had waited at this point 35 years. 12 years as a young boy, 23 years on pilgrimage, looking, where is Kanai? Where is Kanai? Where is my Krishna? Where is that Gopal? And when he stepped foot into the jurisdiction of Navadvip, he was hit with a feeling that only the very elevated devotees can carry sincerely. We have this feeling also, but it is skewed by our latent ignoble desires. We get mad at God for reasons that we shouldn't get mad at God for. The job didn't come through, and the traffic was too bad today, and my team lost. My daughter didn't get into the college. My favorite shoes don't fit me anymore. The snow keeps accumulating. When will it go above freezing? We get mad at God for these things. But Nitai entered into Navadvip, and he was hit with a very special feeling known as man. It's when you're mad at God in a way that God appreciates. He likes that kind of mad, because you're mad that you haven't been able to see him the way you want to yet. You want him to come, and he's not yet reciprocated with that feeling in an obvious way. That's man. So Nitai had been looking for 35 years, and he walked into the jurisdiction of Navadvip, and it hit him. Does this guy care about me at all? I've been looking for him for decades. Has he looked for me even one day? Has he taken one step towards me? So when he entered into Navadvip, Nitai decided he will have to come find me here. I'm going to go hide. So he went to the home of Nandanacharya. Meanwhile, over at the house of Shrivas, who we mentioned earlier, where all the devotees gather every day for kirtan, the simple, humble guy, just everyone come to my house, hang out. Fear not. If you love God, you're safe over here. Lord Chaitanya was there, and he told the devotees about a dream he had had the night before. He said, I saw this very royal personality riding on a golden chariot. He's at least 7 feet tall, this beautiful reddish golden skin, Rakta Gora Kalevara. He had this lightning blue dhoti on, and his chariot had this blazing red flag with the emblem of the royal palm encrusted on it. And the person on that chariot looked at me and said, "I've come for you." All the devotees were just enthralled. And Mahaprabhu said, "I think you all need to go around and find this person. We have a visitor in Navadvip." And so some of the devotees were already very excited because they had kind of taken a transcendental roll call already in the pastimes of Mahaprabhu, because Lord Chaitanya is actually Radha and Krishna. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahayanya. So Radha and Krishna, they're here already. Vishnu, check. Lord Shiva, check. Prahlad, Lord Brahma, check, check. Narad Muni, of course you're here, you're everywhere. They'd already taken a kind of transcendental attendance. There was just one person who hadn't raised their hand yet. Where's that one kid? Balaram. We're missing Krishna's brother. We can't have pastimes until Balaram comes. And so when this dream was described, and Lord Chaitanya saw this very kind of charismatic, eccentric, bold personality, some of the devotees already knew, finally, Baldao is here. Let's go find him. Hide and seek. The game is on again. Just like back in Braj. Cowherd boys running all over the pasturing grounds, playing cops and robbers and cowboys and Indians and hide and seek. So they spend 9 hours going door to door. And Nandanacharya's home is right down the street from Srivasa's home. Anyone who's ever had the chance to go to Navadvip, Srivasa's home is to the right out of the main gate of ISKCON Chandrodya Mandir. And Nandanacharya's house is at the end of the ISKCON land, the back left corner, a mile away. Same island of the 9 islands, Antardvip. Nityananda is right down the street. But the devotees come back after 9 hours of going door to door. "My Lord, we couldn't find him." And actually no one has seen any person that you mentioned of. Some guy 7 foot tall, lightning blue dhoti, you'd notice. And Lord Chaitanya breathed and laughed. He said, "We will have to go to him." And so he stepped out of Nandanacharya's home and began a kirtan. Haribo, 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 Haribo. And they started stomping down the street. And 20 became 50, became hundreds. And Lord Chaitanya wasn't knocking on any doors. He knew which door Nitai was hiding behind. And he goes to Nandanacharya's house, doesn't have to knock, because Nandanacharya is hearing thousands of people at this point clamoring down the streets with mridangas and wampers. Nandanacharya comes out and sees Lord Chaitanya, Nimai, effulgent, Srivas, Advaita. Nitai doesn't come out of the house. And he's not pretending. He's sitting in Nandanacharya's house and he's internally absorbed. He's just thinking about his kanai. Call it chanting japa if you want. But he's somewhere else because this guy doesn't want to come to me. I don't need him anyway. I can have fun in here. We'll be here together. I don't need out here. Lord Chaitanya steps through the threshold of Nandanacharya's home and he gasps. Has anybody ever gone to visit a friend who just had a baby? You know that feeling? You've watched her grow for 9 months and you've heard, okay, baby's born, baby's safe, baby's sound. So in the mind, you know, baby's there. But there's something so capturing when you see the baby for the first time, right? New life. You just, wow, so precious. Lord Chaitanya, he knew Balaram was waiting for him at Nandanacharya's house. He knew Nityananda was behind that door. But when he actually saw him, there's that precious boy. There's my Daoji. And hearing Lord Chaitanya, then Nitai opened his eyes. And they locked gaze. And the tears started streaming, leaking out of their face. Like, talk about ugly cry. It looks like their face is just melting. The body can't handle the love that's trying to come out, to express itself. Ecstatic symptoms, hair standing on end, and tears leaking from the eyes, and the body just shaking. Thousands of devotees were just walking down the street. Nandanacharya's house was safe and stable on its foundation, but Nitai started to shake and jump and bounce. Nandanacharya's house started to vibrate, and they locked in an embrace and went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth in this kind of ecstatic rapture until they both passed out. Both fainted in love and couldn't take it anymore, literally. Finally, 35 years. It's not that Lord Chaitanya hadn't been waiting his 23 years, but he has his way. And Balaram, Sarvarupe Ashvadaya Krishna Sevananda, he wants to be the servant. He wants to contribute. I'm here to give to you what you want, your pleasure. That's my happiness. That's Baladeva's conviction. But how is he going to serve this Leela of Chaitanya, which is punctuated by Virabhav, by Vipralamba? The Leela of Lord Chaitanya is punctuated by grief. It is the joy of sadness, the joy of separation that Lord Chaitanya has actually come, Krishna has come to understand. He can't even understand it himself unless he experiences it. Radharani can't just explain it to him. There's no Bhagavatam class that can get it across. You have to come feel this for yourself. So how is Nitai, how is Balaram going to contribute to that unless he has experienced it first himself? Because every other time, Balaram got to go along. Lord Ram is banished to the forest. How many years? 14 years. Everyone else has to stay back. Dasarath dies in separation. Bharat has to bear the pain of sitting on the throne. But what does Lakshman get to do? He gets to go camping for 14 years with his best friend in the forest. Right? What boy doesn't want to just go camping? 14 years in the forest. Great. Krishna gets onto a Krura's chariot, leaving Vrindavan. The gopis are throwing themselves under the wheels. Kill us. What's the point of life anymore? But who gets to get on the chariot along with Krishna? Balaram. Who gets to go from Mathura to Dwarka with Krishna? Balaram. Every time Balaram is in Sambhog, union, how's he going to serve the Vipralamba Leela unless he knows something about that separation? And so at the end of Krishna and Balaram's Leela, they got to have a little separation on Balaram's choice because he didn't want to stay at Kurukshetra. He didn't want to see the battle. So he went on the same pilgrimage. This time, he had to go on pilgrimage to find Krishna, to experience that separation so that he could serve that spirit in the Sankirtan. All this came together at Nandanacharya's home. As they were passed out on the floor, eventually they woke up. Who woke up first? Chaitanya. Mahaprabhu wakes up first and he pulls Nitai onto his lap. And he just starts kind of patting his head. And Nitai is sort of asleep, but awake enough to know that he's with his Kanai. Krishna's there now. And Gadadhar's watching this scene. Nitai laying on the lap of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu gently stroking Nitai's head. And Gadadhar says, just see what love does. just see how love turns everything upside down. In every universe, in every incarnation, since all of eternity, Shesha has supported Vishnu. Vishnu has lied on the bed of Shesha. Krishna has lied on the bed of Balaram. But see what's happening now. Ananta Shesh is lying on Vishnu. Krishna is the bed, and Balaram is laying down. This is Gaur Leela. This is what love does. It will all be turned upside down. God will become the devotee. The devotees will become on top. This is the madness that Nitai came to serve. And why it's very dangerous to imitate him until you have the same feelings. And then once the feelings start to come, it's essential that you follow them. And in following your own feelings, you will be following in the footsteps of Nityananda. The feelings that come to your heart in the process of faithful bhajan, faithful following of the prescription of bhakti, those are the most precious treasures in the universe. The things that will make Gaur Nitai come off the altar to look you in the eye and hug you. And to cherish those feelings is real worship of them. It's the real way to say thank you. It's the real way to grow and to serve and to follow. And then whatever you do, however crazy it looks to everyone else, Nitai will know. And he will appreciate you're expanding the culture. You're really giving something back to our Kanai. It's okay they don't understand. They don't need to, because we do. So I'll stop there, and we'll see if there's any reflections or comments or details to put into the pastimes that I didn't point to or don't know myself. We always like to hear some features of these pastimes that we hear often.
I'd like to
On the
know where you
Mrgakshi.
find all those nice stories.
So Chaitanya Bhagavat is this very special, it's supposed to be about Lord Chaitanya, but again, pointing to the value of the bhakti, especially Gaudiya bhakti, is this very unique process of offering feelings. Bhakti is the yoga of emotion. And it's different from other yogas in that way, because most other yogas, the whole spirit is to kind of reduce your emotion so that you can come to an objective witnessing of reality, right? Uncontaminated, so to speak, by your sentiment. And there's a value to that. There's a real kind of something essential there about the objective reality of existence and how to connect to it. But also, all one is kind of boring, right? All one is no fun, is what I say. It's a bit like when you go to the beach. If you've lived in Cleveland for your waking life, and then you finally make it to like Hawaii for a weekend or a week, what's the first thing you do when you get to the beach after spending a winter in Cleveland? Go see the ocean naturally. You're down by the water. Take your clothes off. Yeah, just, I don't need the coat. I don't need the boots. I don't need the socks. You just kind of lay there, right? That's like the quintessential, what they advertise to you is just, yeah, more or less, lots less clothing in the sun. After a day or two of that, then you start getting in the water, rent some jet skis, go on a hike or a tour. You start to do stuff. There's activity becomes exciting again. But first, just not doing anything is very exciting because doing anything in the bright, warm, soft, sandy beach sun of Hawaii really beats the pants off of being in Ypsilanti, Michigan, or Cleveland, Ohio for the 4th month of winter. So spiritual life is a bit like that. In the beginning, we're very drawn to just getting out of the difficulty of the kind of mundane conception. We're not really moving towards spirit as much as we're running away from Maya, running away from the pain of our kind of conditioned experience. And that's welcome. But then activity starts to come and feeling is centered there. And then that becomes very individual. that becomes very personal, personalism, as we like to point to. And so in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Vrindavan Das Thakur is supposed to be writing about Lord Chaitanya, but mostly he writes about Nityananda. Although he's supposed to be,
That is about Lord Chaitanya.
it is about Lord Chaitanya also, but it becomes very much obviously about Nityananda. And that's because Vrindavan Das Thakur was his last disciple. So that's his guru. It's Nityananda, and it's also his personal Diksha guru. And Chaitanya Bhagavat makes this sacred detour and has a certain flavor of a strong focus on Nitai. And so these pastimes can largely be found there in detail. And then in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj, he points to them, he mentions them, but he also wants to give deference to Vrindavan Das Thakur, and he says, you can go read there if you want the details. I'm not going to like step on the toes of the Acharya by just restating them. He's got the authoritative presentation of them, and you can find them there. So Chaitanya Bhagavat is the prime place to go for the pastimes I shared today. Sorry. Other reflections, comments, excitements? Okay.
I wanted to know if I could share a couple of songs about Lord Nityananda for this day.
Yeah, I was just about to pass it over to Srimal. Yeah, please. That'd be wonderful. Would you like to come sit here, Ma? Mother Mrgakshi is famous for her bhajan, so we're going to get to hear her sing some beautiful poems and songs about Lord Nityananda.
Actually, what I'm going to sing now it's mostly in English, and this is some songs I wrote when I was teaching in the Bhaktivedanta Academy there at Alachua, and also one that my daughter Jwalamukhi wrote. So I have been, I used to do the puppet shows and stuff out in LA, and my way of remembering things is to have to write a song or a play about it, because I don't have a really good memory. And so I have to have this opportunity to remind myself of these things. So this one, actually, I had this dream. I woke up from, Lord Nityananda's appearance day always is my big day, because I just get so full of bliss. I usually sprain my ankle dancing, because it's such an amazing mercy day, because Lord Nityananda is so kind to us Jagai and Madais. So this one's called just Jaini Tai. See if I can do that. I've never played one of these with it. I guess I put my foot under it or something. I don't know how to hold that up. Okay. We'll see how this works. Okay. The sounds of Lord Nityananda's world. I can't even play this. This is too loud. Well, I'll just do it with that. Okay. We'll just do that. The sounds of Lord Nityananda's world are coming through to me. They lift the heart and raise the soul by chanting Gaura Hari. Nityananda Prabhu knows his quarreling age is full of sin and shame. Therefore he spends his nights and days spreading Krishna's holy names. Sometimes my troubles swallow me, and I get confused of what to do. if I follow Lord Nityananda's way, raise my arms and dance, surrender my pain. I will feel him in Lord Nityananda's band, spreading love of God throughout the land. The most merciful incarnation is saving all the nations. If we inundate the world with love, just as light makes darkness flee, we'll get rid of hate and ignorance. We'll finally be free. So please don't forget what we've come here for. Srila Prabhupada has opened the door, but it's up to us to follow through. Listen now and hear Nityananda's tune. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now, the children down in Alachua, they sing that all the school children come together on Nityananda's appearance day. And so I've sort of started a tradition down there. So I like to spread it around a little. And this is my older daughter. This is Krishna, my younger daughter, and my older daughter down there in Florida. She wrote also a song. And this one's going to be pretty easy, and you're going to help with this one. So it starts with a chorus, which is just Nityananda Ram. It goes, okay. Nityananda Ram, 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 pom pom pom. Ekratams where Lord Nityananda Ram stays and plays pastimes all day. Nityananda Ram, 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 Nityananda Ram. Adai Pandit, his father, Padmavati, his mum, all day long sing the name of their son. Nityananda Ram, 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 Nityananda Ram. On the bank of Mother Ganga, in the town of Nadia, at the same time arose the moon and the sun. They came to benedict the entire universe, to deliver the sinful, the fallen, and the cursed. Nityananda Ram, 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 Gaura Nitai, 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 Gaura Nitai. Chant the holy name and never criticize. Lord Chaitanya says, and soon you'll realize his name is full of bliss. This chance we cannot miss. So raise your hands in song and let's go spread this Harinam. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gaura Nitai, 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 Gaura Nitai. Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhupada. Anyway, that's what, if we can remember these pastimes through song and dance. Prabhupada said there's the chanting, dancing, and feasting, CDF, we'll call it. That's the core. And the books are the basis. The teaching is the essence. Utility is the principle, and purity is the force. And it's a simple program if we can stick to it. I appreciate your attention and applying it to your lives. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.